He thinks I'm a feminist.
Yeah,
Lauren is a
Troy
hardcore feminist.
feminist
That's
at
actually
least.
true. 100% she is.
It is.
Girl, bimbo power, absolutely.
Maybe after some implants, but not now.
Wait,
Wait.
what?
Have you ever talked to any woman in your entire life, bro?
Unfortunately, too many. But I've talked to a
can
lot
tell.
of men too, and the idea that men are these like paragons of logic and rationality is probably one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my
I mean,
life.
it sounds like you're making a bunch of shit up. You could say it's two to tango, but it's the woman who chooses to take a zinc shot into her uterus.
Wait, what?
For men who stand up against feminism, our lives are at threat by the feminists. Well, the wall is undefeated, right? Women will deny it. They'll say that, well, I can still have a kid at 40, so the wall doesn't exist. The wall is a slow decay of a woman's sexual value to a single man.
Okay. Well, to a
Are
single
there any
man whose
women?
like value is like, I guess they're having kids, right?
Yeah, like, you know, dudes who don't want kids, they don't care about the wall. All the power to them. You know, like they don't care. Like, you know, oh, she's infertile. Who cares? I love her. I want to marry her. That's their life.
Okay.
Dudes that want kids, the wall is very important if you want the health of your kids to be maximized.
I mean, you can have kids till you're what, like 35 is when the things start to get significantly more dicey. But what about it?
Well, it's not just 35. It's just slow decay. It's not just like magically at 35 you start having advanced maternal pregnancies.
Well, no, but I
Every
think
year
at
you
35 is like when it starts to slope off into significantly more. But
Well,
I
when it
mean,
get-
yeah,
yeah,
it probably
when it-
starts
yeah.
to decay when you're like 20 or something, I imagine, or something.
Yeah,
right?
when it accelerates for sure.
Sure. But what about it?
Yeah.
Or what about it?
Oh, just, you know, I don't think Lauren. I mean, Lauren hit the wall. She divorced her husband and was like on the dating market, but she's married with a kid. I assume so. That's what I've heard. Although I heard people say it's a lie. I'm just gonna assume it's real.
It's all.
I
know
thought she
my
had
baby
3
is
kids.
fake.
I don't even know what's.
7.
I'm gonna assume it's
Um,
real because given Lauren's
I don't
content.
know.
Go on.
Wait. I want to. I don't know that. Maybe there are some, but I think generally most people agree that it's pretty free. Like if I remember when I was pregnant, when I went into the doctors, they were like, "Hey, here's all the information. When you're past 35, having a kid is like freaking impossible." And that's even
It's
like
not
just like a
impossible.
normal
That's not
clinic.
even remotely true. But
Okay, not impossible. Obviously not impossible.
that's when the
but, like,
complications start to
data they were
mount.
showing.
Yeah.
The data they were showing, it was pretty bad. Like past 30, past 35, they're like, your chances of having all these issues are doubled, tripled, everything. They were pretty honest about it, pretty real. I think, unfortunately, a lot of people in the online sphere base their perception of average person's opinion off of like the most radical activists on Twitter. I don't think the average person thinks that you can have kids no problem well into your like 40s and 50s. I don't think most people think that.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe
not.
I'm on copium.
I think the most people I talk to will say that they can have kids at 40, and maybe not 50s, but the push saying that you can have a child at any of these ages, it's bad for the kids. It's bad for the mothers. You know, it's
Well,
like
what is bad? Well, that's super loaded. I mean, what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, if you believe in medicine, it's bad.
It has
Because if you
nothing to
have-
do. Medicine is probably probably the most backseat issue when it comes to health of your children, or like
It has
there's
100% to do with medicine and science.
it's way behind things like stability of your
Oh.
household, security in your relationship, the position of both
You're
people.
talking,
and
you're
their,
yeah. So when you talk about science, you go from math to physics to chemistry to biology, and then you jump up to like psychology and sociology. I stick it near. I go to biology and that's it. So I'm talking in a biological perspective. Having kids in your 40s is much worse than having them in your 30s.
We don't live in a biological perspective though. We live in a way more abstracted reality than that, right?
We live in a biological world.
But our
function
no
on biology.
we don't. We live in a way more abstract. If we did, then type 1 diabetics would all be dead, right? So that's not the
then
world we
use
live in.
We use biological tools via insulin and diabetes medications to prevent that. You can explain that through biology. You can't explain the way that insulin works through psychology or sociology or political theory.
Okay, so what about like child rearing, like raising a child? Is that all explained through biology?
There's some kind of intersection between biology and psychology when it comes to like, you know, I think it's called like adverse childhood events. What I'm talking
ACEs,
about
sure,
is the
but
age of the mother.
I don't think ACEs have anything to do with biology. I think ACEs have to do with the adverse effects that you experience growing up. So like whether you've been traumatized by a parent, sexually assaulted, neglected, et cetera, stuff like that.
You take a variable being these adverse events and you look at the biological outcomes of it being diabetes, obesity, mental health issues, and it becomes a biological perspective.
Well, but I mean, theoretically, I mean, if we wanted to be reductive, we could reduce everything into like a chemical perspective or a physics perspective or math perspective. That just seems kind of like a weird way
Yeah,
to do
no,
it. I think.
you can, except for these upper level psych and social kind of things. We don't know enough.
Well, we don't know enough because those are the really hard questions to answer, right? Those are the hardest
Yeah.
scionces to do. But I mean, like
So
when
you're
we're talking
saying-
about like child rearing, these are necessarily
Oh,
like
you're
psychological investigations.
Don't
They're not like
conflate child rearing with the age of the mother at birth. Those are completely two separate issues.
well, yeah, but if we're talking about like health of our children, very rarely are we just talking about like just the chances of birthing them successfully. Maybe if we lived in like sub-Sahara Africa, that's our primary concern. But in the Western world, I think we probably want to create like happy, healthy, successful children. And in that case, the age of the mother is probably not even close to the most relevant factor there.
Oh, we're talking about the wall is what we're talking about.
I mean,
So
if you
the
just
wall
want to
height
talk
might
about
be
the
the woman.
existence of the fact that as women age, you're introducing like more potential health risks to a fetus, a lot of which can be tested for in the womb. I mean, like that's an undeniable fact. I just don't think it's a very interesting question when we talk about like the health and like success of children as they grow up.
Well, it's like you saying that, the tires of a car are somewhat important, but let's talk about the engine. Well, if your tires are blown out like a 30-year-old sorority girl's pussy, your car's not going to function.
Well, but that's the thing. If you want to talk about just a car moving, that's fine. But it sounds like you're talking about winning a race, in which case the tire is literally only going to be one part of the equation, right?
Yeah, but I'm talking about that one part of the equation. I'm
Okay.
not talking
Well,
about
I mean,
child rearing
literally
and
nobody
economic
denies that
factor.
one part of the equation, though. What is the point of talking about it?
But you were just saying it's more about child rearing and socioeconomic or, these
Well,
psych
because
and
it sounded
social
like you were
factors.
talking about like having like healthy, happy children. If you're talking about just like the health of a child at birth, then that's somewhat biological, probably decently. Yeah, environment is still going to be important. The stress of the mother during pregnancy is important, whether or
Yeah,
not
that's
she's taking any
biological.
bad.
Yeah.
Well, her choice to take like an illegal substance or something, or some sort of substance that would harm the pregnancy, that's not biological. That's an environmental impact,
No,
right?
it has a biological effect on the kid. Same
Well,
as a
literally
stressed
every single
pregnant
thing we do has a biological effect on us at the end of the day. Me shooting you in the
Yeah,
head is a
but
biological effect.
But
Like
you're
that's just
conflating that with like how to raise happy, healthy like 7-year-olds and how you talk to them. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how old she is when she gives birth.
okay. Let's refocus. Wait, what are we talking? Okay, so we're just saying that when a woman is younger, she tends to have at birth a healthier child, all else equal.
Yes.
Yeah, that's probably true. I don't think anybody would deny that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, host Lauren, what else do you want to talk
Yes,
about?
what's up? I want to go back
Alright.
to you talking. So, like, we were talking about how Undead Chronic doesn't believe in democracy earlier,
Ugh.
and how he
Ugh,
believes
it's
that
gross.
women, and how he believes that women create leftist societies. I don't doubt today women absolutely vote more Democrat. They absolutely vote more left wing. But the idea that women inherently are the creators of left-wing societies, I think, is disproven by history and the fact that there's been a ton of communist countries created when just men could vote, when they were the ones that were the deciding factor in where the course of politics was going. So I don't know what you want to say to that, Chronic, but I think it would be interesting to bring Destiny's thoughts in.
Well, also, real
How
quick,
about
can
you
you
go
on
first,
Discord,
Stephanie?
can you set your microphone to whatever your good mic is and not whatever abysmal mic it's set to right now? If
Wait, are you
can.
talking about mine?
I am talking about yours.
What?
Okay, what did
Let
you?
me see.
Oh boy,
Is it set to a different mic?
it is.
You've been
Okay.
talking to me with a post-wall mic this whole time and you didn't tell me?
Wait, I might be. I might just be output to. Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm going through my headset. Oops. The worst.
Disrespect. I don't even know what to say.
Wait, why isn't it showing my proper mic here? Oh, wait, found it. Is that better? Oh, wait, no, not better.
Is this better?
Yeah, good job.
Yeah.
Genius. 2000 IQ.
Nice
Tech
job.
goddess.
And this is who you said should be voting, huh?
True.
Ah.
Okay, yeah, just restate your position on that, and I'm curious to hear Destiny's.
I don't think
thoughts.
that women created leftist societies. They're just more influenced to voting for more left-leaning positions. So men will typically create most of everything. And the men who are in charge, the men of power, which I'm sure all three of us dislike, like BlackRock, all the politicians, those people.
I don't know about that. Destiny's pretty cucked.
I love institutions, but go ahead.
You like Twitch? Didn't they ban you?
Yeah. Okay, sorry, let me amend that. I dislike the institutions that have personally scored me. Is that what I'm supposed to say? Yeah, of course I like institutions. It doesn't mean I have a perfect interaction or engagement with them all the time, but I've also gotten speeding tickets in the past too, but I largely support the cops, our boys in blue.
Oh, I can't stand those pigs. I
Nice.
hate them.
So where were we?
Yeah,
But didn't you just say? Wait, didn't you just say you're like a hardcore authoritarian?
Yeah, and I don't like current cops because they basically protect the left.
Okay, but what are the cops in your society gonna do?
Oh, my society, there's not Antifa threatening me.
What are you doing with the Antifa?
Well, they follow me to my house and they threaten me, and I can't do anything because if I do anything, the cops will show up and slap me or shoot me or put me in cuffs.
No, but the society that you set up and you want to live in, what do you do with the Antifa?
So I'm trying to.
Oh, like they're not even called Antifa; they're just called rebels. What do you do with the rebels? Maybe I'll just ship them to Canada. Honestly,
Okay, all right.
get some migrants.
All right. Okay, so you don't want to talk about repealing the 19th anymore. You don't want to talk about your dislike of democracy.
I mean, I could talk about it, but like it's never gonna happen. There'll be
Okay,
outright
right.
war
That's
before it
that's
happens.
all I wanted you to acknowledge when we were talking about it earlier. I'm like, we can have all these like crazy hypothetical debates. And when I asked you like, which country would you point to as your model for the society you want to live in, and you're like, I don't have one I can point to. Then I'm like, okay, this is just like this one of these crazy hypothetical
Well, like
debates, which I don't care for as much.
It's like what country doesn't have? You know, as I say, which country doesn't have the female vote? Then you'll look at a bunch of third world countries. Like, well, do you want to live in middle of nowhere, the Congo? Like,
Well, okay, actually, I'm curious. Actually, I'm gonna regret this. Philosophically, why do you think women make worse voters than men?
because they vote for the left.
No, give me something more than that. What do you mean by the left? Do you think they vote for welfare more often? Do you think they
Vote for immigration. They vote for more taxation. They vote for subsidies for themselves when they become single mothers and spawn out bastards.
Okay,
They vote for more lenient crime.
let's do one at a time. So,
Sure.
is immigration a woman issue? Is that something that women are big on? I thought like business owners and people supported immigration traditionally because of like cheaper labor and stuff.
Yeah, so you're saying the strong business owner men and the people in charge. That's not the majority of men.
Okay, you're saying most men support less immigration, but women support more. Is that even true? If we look at like polling data, does immigration come down on a gender line?
I know it could be that it's pretty even, but most men are feminists, so it doesn't matter to me.
If a
Most
man can be a
feminists
feminist, then
support
it sounds like
immigration.
your issue then isn't men or woman. It sounds like some like train of thought that you have an issue with.
Train of thought, like immigration.
No.
No,
Like
feminism.
feminism would be an ideology that a man or woman could have. So it's not like gender essential. It's just like a certain thought. Like you could have a society full of like feminist men and I guess like red-pilled women, and in that case, your problem wouldn't be the issue with women. Your issue would be people that have like the feminist ideology, right?
You could have a society where all women bench 300 pounds and all men can't even lift the bar. Sure.
Okay, so I don't know if you agreed with me or you're saying it would be impossible to have a society with a lot of feminist men and a lot of red-pilled women. Is that impossible?
I think that's impossible. I don't see that.
Okay, but you do acknowledge that some women can be red-pilled and some men can be feminist, right?
The majority of men are feminist. The extreme minority, like 1%, probably less than 1% of women are not feminist.
Okay, if the extreme majority of men are feminists, how is this a man or woman problem? This just sounds like a problem you have with feminism.
Well, I can talk about the problem with feminism, but it goes back to women having the right to vote. That's what first wave feminism is. So you could say it's a man and woman problem if you look at it one way. If you look at another way, it's just a feminism problem.
Okay.
I use the original definition. I don't
Uh-huh.
see feminists as all fat neon land whales. I see them as people who think that women should have the right to vote without dying for their country.
He thinks I'm a feminist.
Lauren is a hardcore
Troy
feminist.
feminist
That's
at
actually
least.
true. 100% she is.
It is.
Girl, bimbo power, absolutely.
Maybe after some implants, but not now.
Wait,
Wait.
what kind of implants are we talking about? I'm just kidding. Don't you think your society kind of sucks if you can't make it appeal to women at all? That they wouldn't vote for any of your shit? Or should they just not have a say in anything?
Does my society suck if I can't convince women?
Like,
to,
I would feel a little bad if I was creating like a voting platform. Like, if I had like, this is what I stand for, but I hope to God women can't vote because none of them would vote for it. Isn't that kind of a bad thing?
Oh, would illegal immigrants ever vote to deport themselves?
I don't know, but I don't think it's the same question. I don't know if making a
I'm
society,
just saying, like,
making a
enjoy-
society that appeals to people that aren't legally allowed to be there. Are you saying that women are like similar to illegal immigrants and that they shouldn't even be here?
They're not going to give up their power. Nobody wants to give up their power.
I'm not asking about. I'm saying in a world. Let's say we just wipe the slate clean. Okay, nobody has the right to vote on anything, and now we're deciding who do we want to give the right to vote for, or we're going to run like a little group or like a little club or whatever. And I want to take a vote. I've got like a set of policies. This is how we're going to run our club. And if I look around and I think, man, if women get to vote on this, I'm fucked. I hope it's only men voting. Isn't that kind of like a shitty system if women have to live under it?
Depends on what the system does, right? If the system says we're not going to allow a bunch of illegals from, the Middle East to go and grape women all the time in this European country, it ends up being good for the women, but the women get emotional. Oh, we want to open borders. Oh, we're not racist. They hate that. I just don't want you getting raped in the street. I don't want your kids getting trafficked.
Who are these groups of people that aren't emotional?
I'm talking about the fact that women are more swayed by their emotions than men.
Have you ever talked to any man ever in your entire life?
Have you ever talked to any woman in your entire life?
Unfortunately, too many. But I've talked to a lot of men too, and the idea that men are these like paragons of logic and rationality is probably one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life.
I mean, it sounds like you're making a bunch of shit up I've never said.
Well, the idea that women are more emotional than men, how can that possibly be the case? I feel like everybody is pretty emotional. Like most people are pretty emotional.
Saying that women are more emotional than men mean that men are not emotional. No, it doesn't mean that. It means that women are more emotional.
Well, how would we even, so this is a tough question. I'm being honest, I understand that. But like, how would we even begin to understand who is more or less emotional when it comes to like anything? I don't even know how I would begin to
It's about needs to fit in with the group. Women have a more larger desire to fit with the in group than men do.
There's no historically shot you believe this. Men and women are both incredibly susceptible to pressures from advertising, clothing brands, job, whatever it is that makes you fit in. Like, how can you say?
Both of them.
I might even say that men are even more victim of this because not only are men obsessed with what other men think, they're also obsessed with what women think about them. How can you say that they're above trying to fit in with a group?
You said both men and women are both super impressionable to like advertising campaigns.
Yeah, and everything is decided with the group.
Okay. Who do you think spends more money on clothes every year?
If I had to guess, it's probably women because they probably control more of the family budget because men are out working.
Yeah, so
who do you think kills other people for shoes more during the year, men or women?
It's definitely young black men without fathers for sure.
Okay, men though, right? We could get into the race whatever you want,
unless you think. I'm just adding more descriptors in here.
Sure, you can add more descriptors if you want to try to obfuscate the fact, but like when we look at like if you wanted to eliminate violent crime across all of society, you would get rid of all the men, right?
And if you want to eliminate violent crime, or if you want to eliminate drowning infants in bathtubs, you'd lock up all the women.
What do you think is more of a problem across the Western world? Violent crime or children being drowned in bathtubs?
I think violent crime. And I think that the production of bastards increases violent crime.
Okay, which is an issue probably with men and women, right?
You could say it's two to tango, but it's the woman who chooses to take a zinc shot into her uterus.
Wait, what?
It literally takes two to tango, right? The woman can't have unless she's literally.
We had the same discussion before. Condoms, the day after pill, who you sleep with, abortions, adoption, all of those.
Yeah, women have more choices. Women have choices post pregnancy, sure, but in order to have that initial pregnancy happen,
pre-pregnancy.
What?
Pre-pregnancy.
Pre-pregnancy, it's pretty equal. It takes
You're
two
saying
people to
a woman doesn't choose who she has sex with?
A man does as well.
Yeah, but how many men do you know that don't want to bang most women?
How many men do I know that don't want to bang the most women?
Most women. Dudes find most women
bangable,
attractive enough to have sex with.
Sure.
Women are the selectors in sexual selection.
No, hold on. No. Hold on. I don't accept that world because then I lose all agency as a man. I don't want to be infantilized like that. Men can absolutely. Or if that world is one that you believe in, you should be advocating for a matriarch, like where women were running everything. Hold on. Just think about what you just said, right? You're telling me women are more emotional than men, but men literally can't help themselves but fuck everything that moves and create bastard children. How does that make sense?
I'm saying that men have a higher sex drive. I know it might be hard to
No,
understand.
hold on. No, you're not talking about sex drive. Wanting to
Oh, yeah,
fuck
well-
random people. You can have a high sex drive and not fuck random women and get random people pregnant. These two things are not.
Do you think that a man with a super high sex drive is going to have more unprotected sex with randoms, or a man that considers himself asexual?
Probably the man with a high sex drive.
Okay, so the high sex drive makes them less discerning in their partner.
But that's something that you can control as a man. You don't have to be less discerning. You don't have to have random kids with everybody.
Go ahead and tell a bunch of young teenage dudes not to have sex with girls that want to have sex with them.
They can have all the sex they want. They can just avoid the pregnancy part. That's the whole point of protection, or making sure your partner is protected.
If I could snap my fingers and make sure all these bastards don't get born because people wore protection, I'd do that, but I can't.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not asking you to do that. I acknowledge there's a problem. I'm just saying that blaming it on women is kind of weird when it takes literally 2 people to make a kid.
And you know who else could make a kid with that woman? A man that wouldn't just bounce. She's not attracted to him.
What? Okay, I don't know what it has to do with what we're talking about, but okay.
Well, you're saying it takes 2 to tango. Yeah, it takes a woman and then her choice of man to tango.
Yeah, but the man is also choosing to fuck the woman.
Okay, and how does that take away her responsibility of choosing who to fuck?
It
It's like
doesn't.
saying-
They both
both
have a
of them
responsibility. It takes 2
responsible,
people.
obviously.
It's like saying, yo, I got $20 and I want a sandwich, and
I don't
got
know if you
30
cited this
sandwich
already,
shops to go
but have
to,
you talked
and
about
I
the what is
choose
a
the one
woman
that
document?
serves fried cat. Oh, it takes 2
No,
to tango.
it's like 2 people who have $10 each going to buy a $20 meal together and both choosing a shop to buy their sandwich together at.
Do you think every man has access to women like that?
Hold on.
One he
You
has
wait.
sex
Okay.
with, he clearly
If
had
you wanna-
access to.
No, hold on. Your argument is fine. If you want to go down this road, you can. But you are arguing the opposite of a strong society with strong men that are at the helm. You're arguing in favor of a matriarchy where men are literally locked in cages because they can't help but make bastard children everywhere because they can't control their baser urges. You can't in one breath tell me that men can be more rational or more stoic than women, but then say, well, men actually can't help themselves but to produce a ton of offspring.
Do you think that men on average are the same as the kind of men that make bastards and bounce?
I have
The
no
kind
idea.
of
I don't
men,
know
the
what-
kind of men who impregnate a woman and not take care of their child is trash to me. I think that's the average
Okay,
man.
I respect that.
Okay, that's fine.
The average
Wait,
man.
did you just say you think that's the average male?
Said I don't think that's the
Oh,
average.
you don't think? Okay, sorry. I was like, holy.
Wait,
shit,
do you
we
think
need
the
to have a
do you,
whole
wait,
other
Do you
conversation.
think the average woman is somebody that wants to just have a child with no father?
No, they're not.
okay,
but,
then
but there
why do we
are,
disagree
But they
then?
are still out there. It could be 10%. It's not the average. I think single motherhood rates in the U.S. is like 6-7% total.
Wait, okay, but then why do we? Then it's an issue with both sides though, right? Like, it takes 2 people. Like, you would never blame just one person for having a kid.
How many single mothers are there in Afghanistan?
They probably
Not a lot.
That's probably
Not a
because
lot.
when you have sex as a woman in Afghanistan, you either have to marry the guy or you get stoned to death for rape or adultery or whatever.
Not a lot.
Okay, I don't know what that's supposed to prove. There's
Proves
also
that
not a
when
lot
you-
of single moms on the
the
moon because
more-
if they were up there, they wouldn't have
more-
oxygen and they would die.
How
Like, I
many
don't know what that's
peop- how
supposed to
many-
prove.
How many people are on the moon, Destiny?
Probably none. How many free women
Well,
or women that have
you
the
don't-
right to do things without getting stoned to death are there in
you-
Afghanistan? Probably not many.
You don't know there's nobody on the moon. There could be secret Nazi bases on the dark side.
You know what? There might be.
But what I'm saying is the more freedom women as a class have, the more single mothers you'll get. That's all I'm saying.
Why can't even if that
But do you
is the
think-
case, even if that was the case, I don't understand why it wouldn't be both people's responsibilities for making the kid. Unless you're saying that men have no responsibility for their actions.
I didn't
I
say
also
that.
I want to add to this. In a society that is like usually in societies that are hyper traditional, they just don't allow divorce at all. They don't allow like it's really
wanna.
looked down upon for people to leave. So in a society that's free, that's also men too that have the decision to leave, that have the decision to abandon their children. So of course a society that is just less restricted in general to traditional values is going to cause more single parent households for both sides, for men and women.
I mean, 80% of divorces are initiated by women. Usually 4 out of 5 times it's the woman breaking up the family. Now you could say, well, what if she's divorcing the man because he comes home and channels his inner Mike Tyson and just punches her all day? Yeah, that's bad. They should divorce. But is that, what percentage of that is 80%?
Sure, I mean we can talk about who is more of the problem in that, but it still obviously is both sexes.
Well, I think that women are the ones that choose who they have sex with. And you can see this through the OkCupid data. Men rate women on a normal distribution. 50%, or most of them are average because that's what they do. Women will rate, I think it's like 70% of men as below average. Okay, so you have 30%. Let's say
Interesting. I was reading the OkCupid data a while ago for a debate like this, and it was showing that when it came to when women actually reply, or when men actually engage and actually take a woman out on a date, they're going to try to only reply to the women that are also in that top 10%. So it's like, yeah, men might send a ton of messages, but when it comes to the women that they actually engage with and the women that they actually like want to be with, it's the exact same with women. But you're
I think
right.
that's definitely a different study because I think the one I think they just did a survey
bring it
about
up
attractive level. But yeah, well, it's because dudes will swipe right on everything and then just block or ignore the fat chicks. That's how they
Yeah.
operate.
Yeah. So men are picky too. Both are picky. It's just
Yeah.
unfortunately how people work. They judge based on like initial appearance. Are you a fat chick? Are you a tall dude? It's shitty, but people
I
do
would say
that.
women are more picky than men. Should be.
Perhaps. I don't know. I'd have to look at it.
Well, I mean, yeah, I can always, I don't know,
I
Discord
think
you the study I'm talking about.
I don't know. I think it's very dehumanizing to pretend that like one sex, like women are super insecure about their appearance and men are super insecure about their appearance. Like and women are super judgmental and men are super judgmental. Like it's, in fact, I'd say when it comes to people that are super attractive, a super hot woman is more likely to be with a guy who is like quote unquote below her level than the reverse.
In looks, maybe.
In
Clarify.
looks.
Thank you.
That's what I mean
That's
in
right.
looks, yeah.
True.
It's hard to, because whenever I talk about these kind of things like, oh, dudes that are taller do better, dudes that make a lot of money do better, dudes that lift a lot do better, people think, oh, well, I know this average couple that I met in high school. We're not talking about, because there's always this guy said a funny joke at a coffee shop situation.
Sorry, wait.
The rise of the incels is people always roast them, but it's going to be a serious political and violent problem for most Western nations. I think a third of dudes between 18 and 30 haven't had sex in the past year. That was
Yeah,
like 2
it's
years
crazy.
ago.
It's getting higher. I don't even understand. Like we have all this quote unquote sexual liberation happening and men are having less and less sex. Hey, it's pretty bad.
Well, it means some men are having a lot of sex. Other men are
Shit.
getting
Yeah,
no
but it's just a
puniti.
few. Yeah.
The H word
No, I
is
agree with
coming
that.
out. Here it comes. Are we getting into
What?
that?
What's coming out?
The hypergamy conversation?
Oh, hypergamy, right?
Well, I mean, like hypergamy is a fact. I don't know what's
Absolutely true.
is that sarcasm? Because like it is. It's a
It just like
biological
this
law.
entire analysis of like relationships is they're just so unbelievably.
Well, it's unbelievable because you talk a lot
it's
of
not-
political
it's not that it's-
science and
it's-
psych and
it-
social, and I look at things from a biological
You don't-
sciences perspective.
Yeah.
My neighbors just texted me asking me to grab my gun because there's a bear outside. I might just, I'll be right back.
Be
Is it
careful.
in the top 20% of bears?
I don't know. He has to see how many wives he has first.
What do you say? I'll let you go on. So, like, you think hypergamy is a horrible idea?
Just the whole analysis is just like fundamentally dumb. Like I think there are a lot of things that men can do to improve themselves socially, but this hyper fixation on these weird like dated like evo psych terms to try to describe all of reality through this narrow lens that
psych.
makes things like horribly depressing and intractable. There's nothing we could do to fix anything. It's just the reality. It is really sad to me. But
That's the kind of black pill stuff. I'm just talking about science. I'm not saying that you're fucked if you're not 6 foot. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that hypergamy exists. This is the effects it has. You can still better yourself. Always go against the black pill guys. Like there's a ton of them. They do the face rates. It's very strange. Like dudes will send in their face pictures. They go, bro, you're 4 to 10, man. It's over. Just delete everything. It's over. Just rope. That kind of stuff. I'm not one about those, but I still think hypergamy exists. I mean, it's unless you can prove to me that women aren't attracted to men that make a lot of resources, that aren't tall, aren't confident, and I don't know what you're.
I don't think
base my entire
anybody's
worldview off
saying
of that.
anything the opposite of it.
I know you saying it's kind of ridiculous to look at these evo psych terms. Where
I just
it's
think
like, well,
hyper fixating on things like this is just like super black pilled, and it doesn't get
well,
anybody anywhere like positive.
I don't think I'm hyper fixating on it. We're just talking about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, but you're back on Twitch.
No, I just do YouTube.
Yeah, no, I made a video laughing at it, but then I felt about it. I'm like, you know what? If I could snap my fingers and have his Twitch back, and then I could get on my channels back, I'd prefer that. What did you get banned for, man? Wait, it was about Rittenhouse?
No, I don't even remember. I just say it's hate speech, so who knows?
You're just hating greenskins, man. You gotta stop that.
I don't even know what that means, but maybe.
I'm a green skin, obviously.
What does a green skin mean?
My skin is green.
Okay, gotcha. Are you like the dude
Yeah,
from
I
one of
got
the
a chuckle.
Spider-Mans?
Hey, I got a chuckle. There you go.
Yeah, true.
Succeeded.
Well, what's that?
Wait, what did I miss? I was just
I was
getting things
explaining what a
ready.
green skin was to Destiny.
What's a green skin?
This
What do
guy.
you? Okay, what do you think a green skin is?
I don't know. Lizard person?
Your skin is green, right?
I suppose.
There you go. You got it. Education. Yeah, so I was talking
Okay.
about how Destiny got yoinked off of Twitch for, he said, quote, hate speech. And I think it was about Rittenhouse. I think that's why he got yoinked.
I don't think so, but who knows, you know?
Okay. All right. I'm curious. So I'll just bring it up since we discussed this at the beginning of our conversation. There was a guy that I was going to potentially take legal action against because he put a defamatory video up of me. And Undead Chronic believes that taking legal action against someone for defamation who is an anonymous individual is doxing.
Okay, what am I supposed to say to that?
What, like, am I losing it here? I don't think that's fucking doxing. Am I losing my mind?
If the legal action reveals his personal information, you are aiding and abetting doxing.
Well, then you shouldn't have fucking made a fucking defamation video, right? If somebody wants to make a video
well,
like attacking
it's
somebody,
like-
you should have to have a public name attached to it. Fuck off otherwise. Then go just stick to posting on 4chan.
Well, Destiny punches little puppies every day. You're going to sue me.
Yeah, I mean, what's the point?
Please don't sue me.
I
I'm
don't
saying
understand what
is,
the point of. If somebody wants to
it's
make,
so
if somebody
hard-
wants to enter the ring and they want to start making videos attacking other people, that's fine. But I mean, like, there's going to be like some rights and responsibilities and privileges and pros and cons that come along with that, right? No. One of
Yeah,
which
so I
is
think
somebody
I
might
see-
sue
I
you.
see it-
That's
So I see it as like I'm looking at the law and society. For men who stand up against feminism, our lives are at threat by the feminists. So if anybody does any action which reveals our information, if we're anonymous, you are threatening our lives. You could be like, well, I don't want anything bad to happen to them. Well, I don't want an avalanche to happen. I just want to sit off TNT at the top of this mountain. Okay.
So do
but
you
you're still
think
the
that
problem.
like you should be invulnerable from lawsuits then if you're anonymously making videos? You should be able to say whatever you
can
want.
you can sue. I just think it's a trash move.
Oh, but you're essentially saying that for like a code of honor, people should be essentially like never suing anybody that's making videos, even if they feel like they're full of false claims, if the person posting them is anonymous.
I mean, if you are getting roasted by people you disagree with and you want to sue them,
Hold on, we're not talking about getting roasted. Let's say somebody makes a bunch of videos saying you're like a child rapist, but that guy's on an anonymous account. Should you not allow?
rapist.
Yeah.
Please use the term grapist, Concord grapist, please.
Okay,
So unlike y'all's channels, if the R words used on mine,
we're cool with that
I
here.
won't
Don't worry,
use it.
I'm a liberal. We love that stuff. So let's say let's say somebody's making videos about that, and that happens. Okay, so is that person, you're never allowed to sue that person or anything because they're an anonymous account? Like,
No, I'm not saying you can't sue them.
I'm not
Just like
asking
this
you if
kinda-
you can or can't. We're talking about morally. You ought to be able to. You're
Oh,
telling me you
like
ought
should.
not
Okay,
to.
should.
Yeah.
Should you? I mean, I'm talking from a perspective of a man who's, if my identity was revealed, I'd lose everything.
Okay,
I
but I
wouldn't
could be
want
talking from the
anybody-
perspective of a man who, when people are making false or defamatory statements about him, could also lose everything. So, like,
Really, what could you lose?
depends on what the defamatory statement is.
Well, what is the worst thing someone could say about you where you would lose everything?
The worst thing would be people making blanket accusations of you being transphobic, and then you getting banned off of platforms where you're making tons of money from, and then you lose all of your public-facing stuff. Or another bad thing might be a woman posting anonymously a sexual harassment claim against you, and now you're unemployable by the entire world of journalism. This has happened.
You
all over.
lose a platform, right? Is the worst thing.
Well, I mean, your livelihood, yeah.
Your livelihood.
I mean, somebody
Yeah.
could find you and try to kill you, I guess, but
How many death threats have you gotten, Destiny?
I don't know. I don't keep track of them.
A couple hundred?
Probably more than that, but I mean, I don't credible ones. Probably very few. I mean, a lot of people DM you saying they want to kill you and shit, but I don't think many are
Yeah,
very
no, I
credible.
understand that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, if it's going to lose your career and you want to sue them, sure. I guess the difference between y'all who show your face, if your name's out there, and people who are anonymous is the revealing of the identity is the same as you losing everything. Okay, so them getting revealed is the same as you losing your platforms.
Yeah, I would say so.
Typically, us anon bros, we don't make the money y'all make. And I'm not saying like, oh, whatever. I'm saying when people can see your face and your facial expressions and you can emote, you'll
Well,
you'll
then
get a
stay-
lot of
then-
viewers,
then
you'll get a
stay
lot more
out. Then
subs.
stay
the whole
out. Then
thing.
go do something different. You don't have to be making videos or articles or whatever. Then.
So because we could be we could be threatened and attacked by, I'll be honest, beside Destiny, we shouldn't have the right to speak about it.
You have
Should
the
just
right to
make the right
speak, but again,
Okay.
the way that I view it, when I'm out here, my face is out here, my name is out here, and it's attached to every single thing I've said for the past 12 or 13 years. If I have to put that much on the line every time I turn my stream on, or every time I record a video, or every time I step into an interview, I'm not going to have very much compassion or empathy for a guy that wants to be anonymous and throw shots at people from behind a fucking mask. Of course I'm not going to.
I guess it's
yeah.
I guess it's just because I have this career outside of YouTube and I'm smarter than that. I'm not going to risk it.
That's fine, but then just do that. But you have to understand the frustration of always being boxing with shadows, right? That any anonymous random dipshit could come up, make any anonymous random claim, and as soon as you push back, they disappear into the shadows and you never see them again. And people can do that infinitely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, you lost one Twitch channel, right?
Yeah.
I've lost 13 YouTube videos, so you don't understand what that feels like. So we both have there's positives and negatives to both sides.
Wait, what do you mean by that? Wait, what?
I've literally had 13 YouTube channels deleted by Dark Lord Susan.
Okay.
You haven't experienced that.
Are you saying that my loss of a Twitch channel isn't comparable to that?
Well, it's not comparable because you probably had an ass ton more people following you.
I don't understand what you're trying to say.
What I'm saying is, if you lost your channels as early as you started, as I did, you would not be doing this as a career.
Oh, potentially, sure.
So we face different problems.
Sure.
Because I don't show my face and you do.
I'm not going to deny that. People face different problems, of course. It's fine. But I'm just saying you have to have a little bit of empathy for the side of the public figure whose name and face is attached to every single thing they do, having to contend with people that are putting nothing on the line. That's a little frustrating.
But you can always just ignore them. That's usually goes a lot better than sending legal threats.
I wish the internet was that easy, but unfortunately that's not really how it works, right?
Is it the emotions? Is it I feel like someone's hating on me? Like why can't you just ignore the people talking smack about you?
Because if you ignore certain claims,
hundreds of people talking smack about you.
Sure, and most of them I can ignore. But when certain claims get big enough by certain people, if you don't address them or say anything about them at all, then people aren't going to say anything. Or I'm sorry, then people are eventually going to start to believe the rumors if you don't say anything about them.
Yeah, I think maybe a YouTube conversation about such claims is a much more effective way to, address them than to just send threats of legal action.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. Depends on the type of claims the other person's making, though.
Yeah, I mean, if someone said that you were transphobic and you had a conversation with them and you go, "I'm not transphobic," they go, "You hate trans people." Like, I don't.
Let's say I'm going to get hired. Let's say I'm going to get hired to do a show. And let's say that this show is looking to pay me, we'll say $7,000 or $8,000 a month is what they want to pay me. And I have a female co-host. And before I go to do this show, some anonymous account comes out and they make a claim that I sexually assaulted them. And then another anonymous account comes out and joins them. Okay. Now let's say that there's a small investigation. It seems like nothing happened, but for whatever reason, people that I'm applying for, this is a little bit hot, come back in a year, maybe we'll hire you. And then I lose that job opportunity. So now I've lost something concrete. There was money that I was going to have that I've lost. It's not just a matter of make a YouTube video and talk about it. It's strange because on the whatever the opposite of feminism is, the MRA side, on your guys' side, you should see the damage of this in false Me Too claims. Men that have their names destroyed over some of these sexual harassment claims literally lose everything. I mean, maybe not their lives, they don't get killed, but what?
And they can't sue.
Wait, what do you mean they can't sue? Johnny Depp literally just had a massive civil suit against Amber Heard over this. Of course they can.
Well, he's
sue.
not on our side. He's a feminist, rich Hollywood type.
Hold on. When you say they can't sue, I mean bad victims or victims of Me Too stuff can sue. They absolutely can, depending on who is saying.
And unless you have millions of dollars, you have no chance.
It depends on the case, my dude.
I could say the same thing about you getting accused of being a transphobe and losing it. What if you were a transphobe? What if your managers were just super hypersensitive to that? And if even one person with no followers said it, they'd still yeet you. It seems like you have a problem with cancel culture more than you have a problem with people staying anonymous online.
No,
Lauren, did you have any concrete losses from people saying you slept with people for content?
Absolutely. I lost hundreds of thousands of subscribers. I lost tons of supporters. It was really just a fucking awful experience, especially because I couldn't comment back because I was dealing with visa issues. But I feel like I really need to, I understand men will say okay, the losing your career over false rape accusations is bad. Of course it is. It's horrible. Men absolutely will lose.
It's great. Please.
Great. Your channel's gone, man. I'm sorry.
I'm
just
gonna
used to being
sue
able
you.
to say this.
Not
Yeah,
really.
for sure. Yeah, so men will absolutely lose their careers over sleeping with the wrong woman. They'll lose their careers over it because if you sleep with the wrong woman and she decides to accuse you of rape, it's fucked. Your life is fucked, right? But women will absolutely lose their careers over rejecting the wrong man. And that's what happened in my case. And I'm going to talk about it a bit more in the future. But if you reject the wrong man, they will absolutely fucking come after you. They won't let you go on shows anymore. They'll accuse you of being a slut. You'll never be called a slut more by anyone than a man you refuse to sleep with. And
You lost your career?
it will. I mean, I lost a lot of followers. I lost a lot of support. Absolutely,
Yeah,
there was a lot of people that I lost because of that. And I'm going to talk, and it's my fault partially for just not wanting to talk about it because I hate drama, and I'm kind of getting more comfortable talking about it. But it was absolutely the fault of a bunch of people who spread false information about me with no evidence too. And I think they should be held accountability and not held accountable. Being anonymous online doesn't make you, immune from accountability, and it shouldn't.
No, I'll be honest. If one of you two sued me and I had to give up my personal information, I'd just delete the whole channel. It's not worth it for me. And just make another
If one
one.
of us sued you, yeah, the legal stuff is. But if you were genuinely, like, if you knew you were telling a lie, wouldn't you just want to delete the video and like change it?
Yeah, well, it's like, you're
Aren't you
talking
like
about
35 now? What a naive statement, but nice one.
35. Who's 35?
The walled one over here.
I thought she was. Didn't you just turn 26, 25?
I'm 70. This is my 60th birthday.
My goodness, the amount of foreskins you smeared on your face must be legendary.
Jesus.
Yeah, for sure, all of them.
It's all they have filters
Your
now that you can put
mom,
on your
your
videos
dad.
live.
Even mine?
So
Even mine?
Your mom was writing my videos for me.
Then she smeared my foreskin on your face when I was born?
Okay.
Ugh.
would that be a biological thing or like an environmental thing?
That's just the fact that there's like skin rejuvenation things where they'll take foreskin and they'll turn it into some kind of stems. I don't know. I haven't looked into
Oh,
the
you're
science.
talking about the people who use it for like anti-aging. I'm really against circumcision. I think that's bad. I think it's not good.
Yeah, but just going off the
Not a
fact that you're
fan.
70, but you look like you're in your 20s. So.
Thank you. Wow, that's very nice of you.
Yeah,
That's the first like guy in the MRA MGTOW community that's told me I don't look 80.
Well, in the MGTOW MRA community, in your 20s is actually just as bad an insult because they only like girls that are 18 or 19. So it's
Exactly.
well.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that. I say this all the time, Destiny. She wasn't born. If she was born in 19 anything, she's too old for me now.
Exactly. Based.
Okay.
I basically, when I talk to a girl, I'm like, do you know what 9/11 is? And they mean like when there's an emergency, like the number you call on the phone. And if they have any other answer, I just don't even fuck with them. I'm like, nope, too old for me.
Where were you at 9/11? I was delete, blocked, gone.
What does that mean?
Well, she can remember 9/11. She's too old.
Oh, exactly. True.
Yes.
Gotcha.
But the thing is, like, people get offended by those things. That's just my personal standards. You guys have different personal standards, so it doesn't, me what I want shouldn't have any effect on y'all.
Okay, I need to warm up some food. Hold on, I got questions. I'll be
Thank
right
you, Vin. Silas Media says, Lauren, you mentioned childbirth is more dangerous after 30. How much more dangerous? Is it too risky to have kids at 30? I think at 30 you're going to be okay, but you're still going to have like increased risk for any sort of disorders that come along with it, autism, all these sort of things. Definitely one thing, this is like a super random thing, but your body is not going to survive as well giving birth in your 30s compared to your 20s. When we talk about like stretch marks and women tearing, that was much less common even just 20, 30 years ago than it is now. A lot of women experience more issues with like sustained kind of body damage than they did before. It's just like elasticity and all this stuff when you're younger versus when you're older. But I still I wouldn't, if you're 30 and you've like found the love of your life and you want to have kids, I wouldn't tell you don't do it. Just you should know the risks.
Yeah. So when I talk and I give advice, it's to groups of people. If you're 30 and you want a kid and you found a guy who's going to be there to raise it, don't let the science stop you from having a kid. You should have that kid. You want a kid?
That's so progressive of you. Look at you, man.
Well, I mean, I would also say that you would be much better served and your kid would be healthy if you had at 18, but it's too late now. Time has passed. I would just say if you're concerned about look at your puniti looking like a wizard sleeve, just get a C-section. Don't worry about it.
Okay, this is like a huge. I don't want to use this word because people get super triggered, but like
Use it.
people who clearly never had a child or like clearly never had sex before have this like idea that giving birth to a baby is gonna like completely obliterate your sex organs. This is not true. Maybe if you're like 40 and you're giving no. Okay, so there's like this idea. Even young women talk about it all the time, especially in like Christian conservative communities. They'll talk about like the extra stitch. Have you heard of that?
That's gross.
Yeah, so it's like an extra stitch for the, it's called the husband stitch ever. Actually, it's like a woman will get like an extra stitch after giving birth to like make everything tighter or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like if you have a kid when you're young, you're not going to have problems with that. Things are going to be the exact same after you give birth. It's when you have kids when you're older that you're going to get more issues with tearing, or like some people obviously have genetic issues where they're just going to tear no matter what. They give birth too quickly, anything. But the husband stitch and all this sort of like rejuvenation stuff you can do can actually damage sex for the rest of your life. They've done tons of studies on it where women have gotten like this extra stitch to be tighter for their husbands. And then they just hate sex forever after that because it's painful. It doesn't work. It's not natural. So like, let the body do what it's naturally supposed to do. Do Kegels, stay fit. Of course, if you're getting fat and never going to the gym, you're not going to be the same. But if you just stay fit and like let your body do its thing, you'll be fine. The whole I actually think it's like a fucking feminist bullshit myth telling women your body will be destroyed, never have kids, you're going to be disgusting. Like it's all nonsense.
Yeah,
some women will deal with it with genetic stuff, but for the most part, if you do it all right, you're going to be fine.
Yeah, the idea that a woman's sexual organs get destroyed is used by both sides, right? So the left will say, or the feminists will say, if you have a kid, you'll be tripping over your labia as you're trying to walk to your job.
Yeah,
and
it's nonsense.
the MGTOW, MRI, whatever it is, will be like, she has sex with 10 dudes, she's gonna be blown out. You're gonna like, be able to put a half rink or what is it? A half rink, put a half pipe inside her pussy, but Kegels will keep you tight. I mean, I still say, that kind of stuff. She's blown out from having a lot of sex, but it's not just that. It's not physical. It's worse than that. It's more like her soul.
You're talking about psychological. Okay, yeah, because it's like just a biological myth that unless, like I said, unless you're being super unhealthy and like literally never working out or taking care of yourself, like it's just a myth that women are destroyed after having sex or like destroyed after giving birth. Like that's just
unless they're putting it in
it's like
okay, what I missed. Whoa, catch me up. What are we talking about?
Talking about women having a lot of sex or a lot of kids and their pussies are loose.
You know that's not how that works, right?
I mean, I just explained it. Yeah.
You explained that that's how that works, or you explained that that's not how that works.
Listen, I'm LARPing as Xander Hall right now. Don't mind the vape. Just ignore it.
Why are you vaping? How many
I know,
things?
it's
Jesus.
horrible.
Christ.
Hey, can you vape LSD though? That's a question I need to know.
This is like nothing in it. It's literally just like raspberry tasting vapor. I cut sugar out of my diet entirely for the last 2 months and I feel amazing. It was hard, but now this is the only like semi-sugary thing I have, the vape. So I'm like, sugar.
Not keto, you took a hit too long.
Do you think you'd ever get married or like dates? Have you been married?
No, hell no. Oh, thank the Lord, no.
Okay. Have you ever like dated a girl that you really loved?
Couple.
A couple? Okay. So you don't hate all women, or did you have bad experiences with those women?
Oh, I've had a ton of bad experiences with women.
A
ton of bad experiences with women. There's one fat chick screwing at me at the shopping center last week. And that's horrible.
Women you've actually.
She means like relationship experience. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've had a couple bad experiences with them.
Wait, okay.
You bet.
I want to know, what is like your ideal relationship? Like you come home, what's going on between you and your significant other? I'm curious.
What's going on? Like what happened? Okay. Home,
like what do you guys do together? What kind of partner do you want? Like what does that look like for you? What's your ideal setup?
A submissive woman.
Okay, of course, absolutely. Talk to me more about that. Does she just like sit around the house and take orders? Does she ever talk to you? Does she do anything? Tell me.
She loves her children. She wants her children to be as strong as possible.
So that's her whole life is just the children.
So she can have entertainment, she can have hobbies and such, but her number one goal, what she, the most important thing in her life is those children. So, you know, I
I think
come home.
I think that should be the most important thing to a man too. Do you think
Yeah,
that's fair?
yeah. Well, it's a little bit different, I would say, right? So the man
You
is like,
don't
yeah, if
think a
you want to
man's
go,
most important thing should be his children?
what I think it should be his family. 'Cause if he doesn't take
Okay,
care of the
so
wife,
it's
she doesn't take care of the children. It's kind of like
like
downstream
but a
effect.
woman's should be family too. Like she should care about her husband as well as her children.
Wish they were like that.
No, 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 it should be. Like if you're talking about your ideal relationship, then the
Mm.
woman should not just love her children, but also love her husband, just like the man should love his
Yeah,
wife and his children.
I guess it comes down to like, you know, what's stronger, the love for the children, or the love for the husband. Mm.
Well, I think both they should be equal.
Yeah, but it's, you know, you do the train track thing. I think if men want their family to succeed, they would be willing to sacrifice. They already sacrifice themselves. You know, you can say at work or whatever, but they should be sacrifice everything for their children and their wife.
I like
The
that. I
hope
think
that
that's beautiful.
and the hopes that his wife is going to do the same thing for his children.
Yeah.
It's
So
almost like she's an
we
extension.
agree. It's almost like yeah, men and women should have the same goals that are geared towards family.
Indeed. So if a woman wants the healthiest kids, she's not going to sit around till 30 to have them.
Sure.
Life happens.
But
There'll
like
be
what if
30-year-old women
yeah,
out
life
there.
happens. What if a woman just cannot find the right man? Or man
Like
can't
what?
find the right woman for a long time. It's really unfortunate, obviously, but
Mhm.
sometimes that happens.
So yeah, she's home with the kids. She's cooking me some decent food. Maybe I'm bringing game back, and she can do the tanning work on it, skin it. I could skin it. Depends on how you know, wheezy she gets around blood and guts. A woman can work from home and not be working for a corporation or a career. You can make money from home. That can exist. But the idea that I'm going to, like, you know, marry a woman, she's going to go to some corporate job for 40, 50 hours a week, have all the dudes or a bunch of dudes hitting on her because they don't respect me, they don't know me. I'm not interested in that. I'm in a
Mhm.
privileged position. I don't need to have a woman work to support the children.
Mhm. So are you dating right now actively?
A couple. I go on some casual dates. Most women in America are non-virgin, so it's like, at some point I'll
Are
end
you
up
a
with
virgin?
no.
Okay, so why do you expect a woman to not
Yeah,
be
yeah. So it's
to
like
be a virgin if you're not?
a two-step process. The first step is women initiate 80% of divorces. The second step is virgin women divorce at 19%. If they've had one dude before their husband, it's 42%. So I'm
Hmm.
doubling my chance of getting divorced if she's had a boyfriend who had
But
sex with
isn't
me.
she probably thinking the same thing about you?
Women don't typically care. Now she's super religious. She
Are you
needs a virgin.
religious?
I would say it depends on religion. I'd say I'm a bit religious,
Well,
but
why
when it
would a
comes,
woman who's religious and a virgin want a man who's not religious and not a virgin?
it depends on the religious woman, right? If she needs a virgin husband, I respect that choice. I'm not the man for her. It's cool.
Okay, so why okay, so a woman who is a virgin and kind of wants to get married to a virgin husband as well who's religious, she would never pick you then.
It's happened.
Who's a good
All right.
woman who has that like those values.
Mhm. She wouldn't pick me.
So maybe you need to adjust your standards to a woman who's going to be more, aligned to your lifestyle.
Oh, but there's
Like
religious
you
virgin.
can't expect something from your partner that you don't expect of yourself.
Oh, does that go for women too?
Yes, absolutely.
So if a
I'm not a
woman, if a
feminist here.
woman,
I'm not a
if a
feminist.
wait,
If a
if a
woman is
woman,
like, I want a 6'10" guy, he has to be perfect.
Lauren,
he
you
has
are
to
a
be
hardcore
millionaire.
feminist. I'm sorry.
Okay, sure. I'm a hardcore feminist. But if a
yes.
woman is like out here like complaining about men not being 6'10" and millionaires, well, bitch,
Mm.
go, lose some weight and become a millionaire as well if that's going to be your expectations, right? You got to adjust your standards to what you
those are
are.
different standards, right? So me being a virgin is nothing compared to me making over six figures. I don't appreciate the financial capacity more than they appreciate the virginity. Not all. Very religious ones will choose that, but I still got virgin religious women interested in me. No, I'm not a virgin.
Okay. Well, I think okay.
Like I
All
can.
right.
I'm not saying that.
You know what? Like I genuinely, I hope you find your virgin Christian wife who loves you, and like I hope you find that one day. But I think that it's going to be a difficult match when you're not really in that same market. Like you're probably not going to be going to the same church as her. You're probably not going to be in a family that she's like,
tiny.
this is a good guy that's looking for a wife and family, and he's been straight edge his whole life. You're probably just not going to be in that same,
Oh, I could come off like
bracket
that.
as her. Oh, that's
can
not
come up-
good. You shouldn't be fake. You shouldn't have to put up a fake, image of yourself to get a partner. That's basing your relationship on a lie.
Well, then why do women use makeup?
The same reason men get beards and wear hats when they're balding.
So something that naturally happens is the same as having an industry.
A
put
hat is
chemicals
not
on your face?
natural. A hat is
I'm
not
talking.
natural.
I'm talking about a beard. I'm talking about a beard because you're triggering
Like,
me because I
but
have a
like
big
people,
beard.
men grow beards typically to hide like jawline issues and stuff. So they're hiding
I
something
think,
that's natural.
you know,
But it's like if what you're looking for is like entirely an appearance thing, and that's also what the partner's looking for, you guys probably deserve each other, right?
yeah. Well, I think the dudes that I'm trying to think of guys that look just for appearance because guys will find more women attractive than the opposite, right? Women will find more select group of men as attractive, whereas dudes with a lot of testosterone. Look, if she's not fat, she's got a chance, right? That's for most dudes. And the rest depends on how she acts and what she says.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess you could say hats are like for balding dudes, the equivalent of makeup for women. But
Was that a dig at
The
Temple?
problem is
oh,
With-
then why do you gotta do that to him? Oh,
the thing is with makeup, like with makeup, the problem is it's become like a standard, right? Like if a woman doesn't wear makeup, she's gonna get the absolute like people are gonna be like, "Are you sick? Are you doing all right?" It's like wearing pants at this point. If you go out without wearing pants, people are gonna think you're a psychopath. And if women go out wearing no makeup, people are just gonna comment on how ugly they are 24/7, including men who complain about makeup.
yeah, I'd be interested to see like I'm not saying you're wrong. I'd say I'm interested to see a study.
I'm
on that.
right.
Like I dated most women I date aren't like huge into the makeup, but I did date one chick with alopecia, so she had no hair, no eyebrows, no hair, and she would wear a wig, John eyebrows, and wear a ton of makeup. And I would always tell her, "You shouldn't wear so much makeup
men,
like you're attractive."
the reason she'll do that is because more men will approach her and be nicer to her when she's wearing makeup. That's the reason women do that.
Yeah, so like when I lie about my beliefs and who I am, a woman will approach me. Like when I go to the bar, I got Destiny's Politics. I'm not, bro. Black Lives Matter, man. I'm just trying to get some pussy.
But yeah, you're
Very
gonna get
different.
not gonna get a good woman if you are lying.
I'm
If
not
you have to
trying- I'm
lie
not
to
trying to-
someone, if you have to
I'm
lie
not
to
trying to get
someone,
a good
okay,
woman.
fine. But
I'm
if
not
you
trying
have
to
to
get a good
lie to
woman at the
someone,
bar.
of course you're always gonna be getting bad relationships. If I like start a relationship on a lie and then the guy finds out that I was lying, like that relationship is gonna go to shit. So of course you're gonna have a ton of
I think
horrible.
the difference is like when I go to the bar to get some goth chicks, I'm not looking for a relationship.
Okay, so you're not okay. So that's like kind of your like side thing. I pretend to be a BLM supporter to get goth chicks.
Yeah, well,
but
different
then on
women,
one hand, you are looking for like the virginal trad wife.
different women get different treatment, just like different men get different treatment. If you're 5'2" as a man, you're invisible. Nobody cares. Oh, not all. Like it's not
I
like
don't think that's
every
true.
chick's gonna ignore you. But hey,
No, I don't think that's
I
true.
think if you asked 100 girls if they date a guy who's 5'2", I think half of them would just laugh.
Oh, I thought you said 5'10", 5'2".
No,
I mean,
5'2",
that's
5'2".
yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah, women do base a lot of attractive, like how they judge a man off appearance for sure, just like men do the same. But it's like saying, oh, a woman who's 200 pounds isn't going to get many men going after her is also true.
Well, compared to a woman who's not
There's a lot
fat,
people are super
yeah, no, a woman
superficial.
who's 200 pounds isn't going to get as much attention as a woman who's not obese, but she'll get a lot of attention still.
Sorry, repeat that. I was
She's
reading
200
actual
pounds.
Justice Warriors.
If she's 200 pounds, she's not getting enough. She's not getting as much attention as
Yeah.
like the slim chick, but she's still getting a lot of attention.
Yeah, the difference is though is that a woman that's like super fucked has a harder time elevating her status with the type of people you're talking about than the guy that's 5'2", right? Like you're probably better. Like the 5'2" guy can do things to improve his position because of the types of things that men tend to be valued for, versus the woman that's like really unattractive or old or whatever is going to have fewer options available to her, right?
Well, I agree. I think that fat chicks are, or no, I say like short dudes are like old women. The only difference is,
I think if it was a
you have
short
no
dude who
choice.
was 5'2", who was rich as fuck, I don't think you would have the same problems, right?
yeah, I mean, I know a fat chick. You can know a fat chick that's rich as fuck who gives head like a vacuum at one of those car shops.
Yeah, but I don't think guys typically shop around for relationships looking for wealthy women usually, right? That's not generally how it goes.
Well, not typically, but if she's like on yachts and on her dating app, she's gonna get a lot more swipes than like just some poor fat chick.
I don't think men swipe on dating apps looking for women on yachts. I don't.
Do you think that if a fat chick is on a yacht that she owns, she'll get more matches than a fat chick in her house?
All else equal, probably, but not as many
Yeah,
more
so
as a
just-
5'2" guy who's random versus a 5'2" guy on his own yacht.
That's
right?
true. Men are more assessed by their resources.
Sure.
I can agree with that. But old women had their chance. But
Okay,
two
so
dudes
what
never
would
had a
you
chance.
say, like, what should a woman do if she's just born, like, super fucking ugly? Like, what's her recourse for that?
Is she fat or just messed up? In the
She's
face?
just ugly. Like, her face, she's just born, like, disfigured face.
I think every woman should get off social media because Instagram is directly linked with depression in young women. So if she's not
Do you
looking
agree there's
always-
kind of unrealistic standards for appearance that are held up for women online as well as men? You'd agree with that, generally?
I don't, I can somewhat agree with that. I'm just talking about outcomes of depression with Instagram use. So she's not on Instagram, she's not on these social medias, and she's willing to date an ugly guy, right? It's kind of like know your value. You should definitely choose one and kind of assess their character.
I think that's a problem a lot of people have is they try to, everyone, women and men, try to date like outside, or they expect things that they don't themselves have. They'll be like a woman who's like a 4 and they expect a 10 out of a guy, vice versa,
Yeah.
right? And that's a huge problem is that mismatch. And I agree that it does tend to be like this, especially if you're in the hookup culture, like a large group of women hooking up with this like 10% of men. But if men could do the same, they would. They would. If there were like 10% giga super hot females that were just sleeping with tons of men, every fucking guy that is complaining about women doing this would do the same thing.
So I think it's just differences in biology. If women could bench as much as men, they wouldn't get beat up as much.
Yeah,
They had the
exactly.
musculature. I think for let's say she's an 18-year-old ugly chick, if she recognizes her value, because men will approach women out of their league and they get rejected. That happens all the time. Even dudes who are, jacked, even my best night, 50% of the girls I talk to be like, no. It's just how it works. The 18-year-old chick, she's probably not going to, because women won't typically approach as much as men. She can't sit around from 18 to 13 and she deserves the best and rejecting every guy that approaches her, because once she's 30, she's going to have even less valuable in terms of attraction, whatever it is, guys that will approach her. Not that it can't happen, but she'll have a much larger group of men she can choose from when she's 18 in her youth than when she's like 33 and ugly. Because now you're 33 and ugly, and if you're a chick and you're listening,
but women, here's the problem though. Women make poor decisions when they're 18, 19, 20. So you're probably going to end up, if you're choosing a guy at 18, you're probably going to end up a single mother because you're probably going to make a stupid decision. So it's a really tough balance, right?
Yeah, which is why in patriarchy, typically the fathers would choose the husband.
Wait. Oh, right. That's your.
Because they would choose.
I think family input with relationships is important for sure.
I don't think he's talking family input, but that's a nice cope there, Lauren.
wait. Sorry, repeat that.
He said fathers choosing husbands. He means fathers of the daughters choosing their husbands, not a little bit of family input.
Okay, yeah, I think family input is important. I think families like approving of someone. I think that's important. But I think there's a balance. I don't think the father just saying this is going to be your husband. I think you end up with like Middle East situations where women are not very happy.
Well, when women are given the opportunity to choose, what do? They have a lot of premarital sex. They have a lot of children out of wedlock. They have a lot of abortions, and they initiate 80% of divorces. So I don't know. Is that really a good system?
I guess we gotta stone him.
Destiny, you speak in facts.
I know I am. I think I'm getting pulled to your side. I think I'm agreeing more.
But it's still an input. It's just the input, right?
And especially because like a father will probably know better than the daughter, like what to look for in another man. He can tell like which men are like the creepy predator types and which ones can be like the providers for the family and everything too. And it's going to fall back on the father anyway because their family is going to have to take care of the daughter if she has a child out of wedlock. So wouldn't it make more sense for the father to have input anyway, since he's going to be responsible for the kid one or another if it goes belly up or whatever.
Pros is the father's not going to choose some hot deadbeat who's going to leave.
Exactly. Whereas like a woman might, because they're fucking women, right?
Shit.
The con is the father might not choose.
I rescind my right to vote. All right.
The father might not choose a man who she's like super attracted to.
But he'll choose a better man for a relationship, for a long-term stable family household.
Yeah. Well, I think in the whole "you are going to get married" period kind of thing. More a couple hundred years ago. I mean, you see it maybe in a lot of Islamic countries, but in Indian arranged marriages, it's more like they set up dates with potential husbands. So the woman's just like, ugh, it's a no. She has veto power, but she's not out there in the club, getting schlonged down by 5 different dudes every month.
Actually, you know what? All right, as much as I still believe in women's rights, absolutely, but there is a lot of solid data that shows. I think it's Hasidic Jews that have that tradition as well, and in India, where the parents choose the people they go on dates with, and then the daughter chooses, and they have very high success rates in marriages.
I think that women should have the same rights as men, but those are rights that they should just exercise in the household. Men's domains are politics of the country. Women's domain should be politics of the household. If the woman wants to decide where the kids go to school, when bedtime is, I think that's within her right to do so. But I don't know why that domain would extend to the world of men, which is like politics, war, stuff like that.
So true. This is why I changed my gender, so I could have a live stream.
It's hard to tell if you're like being sarcastic, you're being honest.
Well, I'm not. I mean, like, think about it. Like, would you be of two minds to run a household and a country, right? It seems like if the family is the building block of society, which I think throughout all of history, as much as people don't like it, is probably true, right? And if you have the man at the head of the household, and then the woman is underneath, and then the children are over, the woman can run the household so that the man is freed up to do other things like pursue political agendas or do work in the rest of society, right? So if a woman has ultimate dictation of what happens in the household, and we see this, so for instance, when you look at like spending data, women spend like 90% of the household budget. Why? Because they're the ones making decisions for the household. If their minds are completely and totally occupied with that, why are they voting on things like immigration or fucking climate change or whatever, right? Their domain is the domain of the household, and then men should be left to run the rest of the country, I think. It just seems like in terms of delineation of tasks, that makes the most sense.
I bring a progressive on this panel, and I just get trounced by these meninists.
Just saying,
I think that women downplay how much political power they have. Because if you're raising 5 kids and you raise them in a certain way to vote or care about things you care about, you just raise, if they're all men, 5 votes. I don't understand that. Oh, it's not like mothers have no political power. They literally control the next generation. When it comes to stuff like what decor are we going to put in the house, I don't give a fuck. I really don't care. Just whatever. Just don't spend too much money.
Is she running away? Are you actually so emotional?
I have to go for. Yeah, I gotta go cry for a minute. I gotta go have a woman moment. But after this, Undead Chronic, I've actually enjoyed this conversation. I'll have you on stream more. I'm gonna be bringing Layman on in about 5-10 minutes.
No,
so
kick me out of here.
Just so you know me.
I can talk whenever.
No, you got 5 more minutes. I'll be right back.
Cool.
Wow.
Destiny, are you still in LA?
No, I moved to Miami now.
How hot is it down there now?
I mean, you can Google weather Miami. It's pretty hot.
Good. Sweating your nuts off.
Yeah, it's very humid.
Even
all the time.
like Miami is the mecca for the red pill pickup artist fools.
Yeah, I've heard so. I'm trying to get on that Fresh and Fit podcast. Hopefully, a couple weeks.
Bro, don't do it. Please.
Why not? What's wrong with them?
I hate those dudes. Even though I'm labeled as MGTOW, red pill, manosphere kind of stuff. These pickup artists are just scamming men. Buy my course. I'll teach you how to angle your feet, and you'll get 10 girls in 1 week. It's disgusting.
Wow. What do you think the real advice should be?
Real advice is free. It's go to the gym, get a career, make money, and increase your social skills. The last one's the hardest because you get dudes who are, guys on the spectrum, dudes that just haven't engaged with a lot of people. They're kind of shy. And building your social skills is like building a muscle. You just need to talk and find out what you say that's like, oh, I messed up that conversation. I need to read these people's faces.
Okay. What do you think guys should go today to practice their social skills if they're like super out of practice?
Honestly, like bars are, I don't know, because at a bar you drink a lot, you'll say something stupid, you get your ass kicked. I would just say coffee shops. That's probably the best place to go. Or you can join some intramurals. Soccer's popular. If you want to travel, soccer's the one to do.
Okay. Gotcha.
You seen any alligators?
No, not recently. I don't.
So the Redlands is like 30 minutes north of you. Or if you can go on the trip up to Orlando or Tampa, you'll drive through Gator Alley. No, I'm sure that you're into that kind of stuff, but there is an amazing theme park. I think it's an hour north of Orlando. It's near Jacksonville. It's called Gatorland, and you can go. It's basically Disneyland, but for gators. You can pet gators. You can eat gator. You can see gator shows, and they got a zip line. You zip line over the alligators, and if you want to be a true Floridian, you bring a PBR. You crack it on zip line, and you try to aim it when you pour it out to go into a gator's mouth. And then you're an official Floridian.
Jesus. I'll look into that when I get a chance to.
Layman is ready to chat. Undead Chronic, it was great chatting. Did you want to shout anything out before you head back to your stream?
I think this is a good conversation. I think that, we had some misconceptions of each other. I wasn't as aggressive as maybe you thought I'd be. But thanks for having me on, Lauren.
Yeah, it was great to chat. You have a good one. And
Wait,
Steven,
one more thing.
Yep.
Happy birthday!
Thanks, mate.